Hey, welcome to another episode of the Manufacturers Make Strides podcast. Today, my guest is Tony Sufler. He's the VP of Ops and MD at Momentum Dynamics, and they've developed a really innovative method of wirelessly charging electric vehicles from commercial cars through to trucks and buses. And they're hoping to kind of revolutionize the way that vehicles get charged and to make them available to be operated 24 hours a day, which will be like a massive step change from the current way of cable charging vehicles. So Tony has been involved in automotive and manufacturing since the early days of his career, including some tier one automotive suppliers. And he's now taken on the challenge of this really interesting startup, Momentum. So we get into some of the processes that helps him achieve some of the success that they've had there. So let's jump on straight into the interview now. Hey, good morning, Tony. Thanks for joining us on the podcast. How's it going today?
Good, Martin. How are you?
Yeah, excellent. Really good. Thanks. It's the start of a new year, 2022. Hopefully it's got lots of opportunities for everyone and we can get a little bit back to normal. You're VP of Ops at Momentum Dynamics. You're the MD there at the moment. But I'd really like to just go back and get started. What got you into manufacturing and the automotive industry in the beginning?
Well, that's an interesting question. I guess when I was a lot younger, I wanted to be actually a chef in a restaurant, and my parents weren't too keen on the idea. So I went to Penn State for engineering, and pretty early on in my career, I realized I was more interested in making things than designing things. My father was in the automotive industry, more on the retail side and in the repair industry. So I always had a big interest in cars. And a little bit into my career, I was working for a company that was a tier one automotive supplier for General Motors and for Lear, who make a lot of interiors for cars. So I was doing that for about 10 years and really enjoyed that industry. In addition, I worked for a company that produced high power and high voltage transformers and power supplies. So if I had to kind of put together my two biggest influences in my career, is kind of what directed me to Momentum, because we do support vehicle companies and those integrations. And in addition, our products are high power and high voltage. So it's almost like the perfect collision in my career that brought me to Momentum.
Yeah, and that seems to be the technology that Momentum's developing. That seems to be one of the big challenges at the moment and over the next decade, I guess, in really enabling the uptake of electric vehicles. So, what's Momentum Dynamics' take on that? And could you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, what we produce are wireless vehicle chargers. So, if you have an EV, the more traditional way to charge your vehicle is to plug it in. What we're focused on are fleets of vehicles, whether they're buses, trucks, automobiles. What our product does is does inductive charging, so you don't need to actually plug your car in. So in theory, with small charges throughout the day, the vehicle can actually run, in theory, 24 hours a day. So you're not taking that vehicle offline.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. That's interesting. So how does that work then? Does it stop? Where's the charger then? Is it in the vehicle?
Well, we have strategically placed charging pads that are put into the ground. And there is a receiver a receiving pad that's on the vehicle. So once the vehicle drives over the pad, a certain certain things have to happen with regard to alignment, and that's how the vehicle's charged, and it's done in a short amount of time. Whereas if you plug your vehicle in, it takes a longer amount of time to accomplish the charge.
Oh, cool. So what the idea is, say it's a delivery truck or a bus, say there's a break for 10 or 50 minutes or 30 minutes. At that point, you position it over the charging pad, and when you jump back on board, it's ready to.
And the same thing that would go with, say, a bus. When a bus is reaching a point where it picks up passengers, we have a lot of those strategically placed as well in our successful integration so far.
Wow. So it sounds like quite an innovative kind of technology, and I can't only begin to imagine the number of challenges there must be, from manufacturing it to the deployment of it to convincing the market to try it out. How do you? That seems a lot of big challenges. How do you go? How have you gone about approaching?
Yeah, I mean, I think where we are now is we're educating the market that we have a really successful solution that would, in a lot of regards, if you think about a bus can only drive so many miles before it needs to be taken offline. With us, the necessity to take the bus offline is eliminated. So, through successful integrations and installations, we're able to demonstrate to new customers that this is a good solution. Something that is involved in delivery trucks, in taxi services. So we are in I'll call it the education part right now. And we are also learning a lot about our technology with improvements. And as far as operations, my challenge is to, look a little bit further down the road and being able to adequately scale to higher levels of production. So that's where I'm going to tap into a lot of things I've done in the past with automation and, robotics and stuff like that in order to properly scale with the anticipated increase in business.
Yeah. So what do you have any what are your kind of key kind of lessons at that? Because I guess you're going to be coming quite soon up to a critical point where it's kind of transitioning from kind of prototype. The manufacturing process for prototype is quite different to as it starts to scale. So what's your process for handling that without it getting too chaotic?
Well, I think, we are implementing a lot of processes at Momentum to anticipate when customers are, number one, looking to give us a trial basis. So, we do have a number of successful deployments already. And what we are learning from that is, what things can we do to improve the installations, and then with our contract manufacturers, what can we do to reduce the amount of time it takes to actually produce the equipment, because it's pretty complicated. And based on that, we have to formulate what are the best paths to scale. And right now, there's really nothing that's off the table, whether it's customized automation, can we get, some off-the-shelf robotics to be able to scale. So there are the discussions that the operations team is having. At the same time, making sure that I'm in tune with what is coming down the road with regard to some of the potential big customers that we're looking to sign on.
Amazing. So it's kind of a combination of making sure you learn every lesson at this stage, making sure that that's and keeping your mind open as wide as possible to any kind of technology and process. Great. So What's your plans for 2022? Do you have any kind of goals, or where do you see the business going this year?
Yeah, I mean, what we're doing now is we're solidifying our processes. You know, really developing our quality management system. You know, through repetition is where we can learn areas of improvement and start to develop, you know, the basis and the benchmarks for a continual improvement program. And at the same time, you know, looking at where our strategic partners are going to be. A lot of our customers are located in Europe. A lot of our I think more immediate opportunities are going to be in Europe because the acceptance of EVs is a lot more advanced in Europe than it is here in the States. But obviously, you know, with the environmental issues that are a big concern with, you know, diesel burning engines, you know, there's a lot of influences that are being put into the EV market, you know, not only for, you know, improved efficiencies, but also for, you know, environmental issues as well. But, you know, from what we can see, Europe is far in advance ahead of the United States right now.
Okay, got you. So, how, like, this seems that the problem or the challenge of how to charge EVs, that seems to be like one of the main things, like kind of holding back the rollout of EVs, maybe along with also the cost of them versus kind of regular cars. What do you think the charging solution will be then? Do you think it will be kind of one technology that gets standardized, or do you think it will be a number of different technologies depending on, you know, working together? Yeah, how do you see that market looking in the, because it's very early days, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's pretty well documented that a lot of the skepticism is the ability to, you know, how long can a battery stay charged? And I think a lot of American consumers are skeptical because, you know, they're afraid that, you know, what am I going to do? How can I recharge my car? But I know even where in the city that I live, you know, a lot of retail type charging centers are installed. I mean, there's one in a shopping mall that just came up over the Christmas break. So, you know, I think on the commercial side, it's going to be a bit more aggressive because you know, a lot of the big delivery companies, a lot of the big retailers are really driving towards eliminating diesel vehicles because an electric vehicle there's a lot less maintenance involved as well. You know, there's no oil to change in the vehicle. It's cleaner. There's a lot less moving parts. So I think that's where a lot of the push is happening from the commercial side, and that's where we're focused, Martin. More on that side because we think that's where the bigger push and the bigger scaling opportunities are going to be in commercial vehicles.
Yeah. So do you see this like technology sitting alongside like the cable charging for, you know, retail parks and things like that, or do you think eventually we'll get to a place where one technology rules, you know, so maybe wireless?
I think there's going to be a front runner, and you know, it's easy for me to say it's going to be wireless charging, but you know, in my heart and in my technical mind, to me, it's a superior solution. It really is.
Yeah, it sounds great. Brilliant, thanks. Just slight change of tack. You're in like quite a challenging role right now, this very innovative company, a lot of responsibility. Do you have any tools or techniques that help you in your, you know, to achieve your goals or to stay on track? Be they, you know, kind of personal, health-wise or business-wise?
Well, I think on a personal side, extremely active. In I'll say the twilight of my career. I'm a very competitive duathlon. So I run a lot, I cycle a lot, I compete, and I think that keeps my mind fresh. I'm an avid reader. I'm a big proponent of why we do things instead of what we do and how we do it. So,
Okay.
not that I'm going to give a plug to Simon Sinek, but I'm a big advocate of a lot of his readings, and I think that I'm a big collaborator with regard to how I share ideas and solicit ideas from my team and as well as from suppliers. So that's been successful for me in my career, and I'm going to continue to leverage that through 2022 and beyond.
Great. I have a couple of follow-up questions into that then. So it's great that one of my next questions is going to be, have you got any book recommendations? So that's slotted in nicely there. But also you mentioned what's really important to you is kind of focusing on why we do things, not just what we do and what the current goals are. What's your kind of preferred way of keeping people focused on the why, not the list of goals? How do you get that message across?
Well, I think we all there's two things that we kind of do in our jobs as managers. There are certain tactical things that we have to do to accomplish tasks, but I think we need to spend a certain amount of time and kind of take a step back. And I always call it, I get in Tony's helicopter and I like to go up 10,000 feet to review my strategy. And it's my job to continue to remind that, because if not, we often get kind of sucked into being firefighters, and it's always that's almost a like an immediate satisfaction. We solve the problem and we move on to the next problem. But if we forget what the strategy is and the why we're doing it, then we just become proverbial firefighters, and we really don't progress the big picture of why we're doing what we're doing. So it's my job to remind people of that. And it's taken some, mental discipline on my part to be able to accomplish that on a regular basis.
Yeah. But I guess that's where the exercise and having time out from the to-do list really helps, doesn't it? That can be one of the things that can give you that longer term clarity. Great. So books then. So if you had a favorite book recommendation, what would you give?
Can you repeat the question?
Do you have any favorite book recommendation?
Yeah, I mean, the book I've actually read and reread is it's by Simon Sinek. It says Start With Why. He talks about the golden circle, and he does highlight Apple a lot, and I think it's obviously a company that we can all aspire to, not only for the products that they produce, but the message that they convey. And we do spend some time at MD talking about why are we doing what we're doing. We want to be commercially successful, but we do think that what we're doing is betterment for the environment, for society. And it will make a commercial success of the companies that I think accept our technology. Amazing.
Thank you. That's great. Okay, so just let's wrap it up now. I'll let you get on with your day. What's the best way for people to find out about what's going on with Momentum Dynamics or get in touch with you?
I think the best way for companies to look at things that we're doing. We're an extremely active participant in LinkedIn. That's where we do all our social media. We're in the press. I mean, we've been on CNN. We've been in local governments and in discussions with the national government in the United States. But I would suggest our website and, following us on LinkedIn is the best way to, keep track of the successes of Momentum Dynamics.
Amazing, thank you. We'll post links to your LinkedIn channel and the website below the video and the blog. Great. Well, really, that was great hearing about that, Tony. Thanks a lot for your time. Yeah, hope you have a great day. Cheers, Tony.
Thanks, Martin. So long.